Tell you what, I'm enjoying this silence right now because, like I said, all the local church girl, I guess, lead team, whatever, they put a title on it apparently, and then they can just go on a trip for 7 days. But no whoop whoop. It's funny because but Charleston's 3, and there was at one point last night. So she gets to sleep with me when mom's gone. She doesn't sleep. She's not a still sleeper, which I've heard that's a reality with some kids. It's not with her. But there was a period. First off, we stay up late and we eat gummies, which are gummy candies, and she likes the kind of sour ones, not the real sour ones, but the kind of sour ones. She likes them all. She is not a respecter of gummies, but and she apparently thinks that I have an endless supply of them in my truck, because she'll go, "Daddy, you got gummies?" I said, "No." She goes, "Your truck? Your truck?" I'm like, "No, but I'll get you some sometime." Well, mom's gone. We get to do a lot of different things. We went to McDonald's. She calls it Old McDonald. But we went to McDonald's. We got donuts. We've really had a great time. But she was in a period last night where, I would say for an hour and a half, I don't know if she breathed. She said so many words. And, every question, she's singing every song. So I made the mistake of... we had always spoken that our kids would have confidence, and we speak the things over them just through the whole pregnancy. And it was, one of the things was confidence, and there was no shame. They would just be free in themselves. So I sing her songs when we're going to bed, and I run out of songs, to be honest. So I just start making things up. Last night, she asked for the fan song, the wall song, the door song. So that was the night that I had, just so everybody knows. And then she would sing. I'd be like, "I don't know what that one is." And then she would sing it. And also, I will need some help. I understand there's Google, but there's the song, "Hush Little Baby." I'm not sure what comes after Diamond Ring. Because I say if that diamond ring don't shine, Daddy's going to buy you a clementine. That's all I got. And then I stop. And then I start making things up at that point. So if anybody knows that, that'd be awesome. After service, if you could help me. I understand there's Google, but I just need some guidance on what that is. But no, we're having a great time. The girls are too. I did not realize that they were going to be gone on Tuesday, because they do a lot of things on Tuesdays, and I did not realize it was going to be a full setup day. So I want to thank Josh for being my road dog through all this. And today, I'm not going to say it was because the girls were gone, but it was the quickest and smoothest we've ever done it. That's all I'm saying. I'm okay if that one goes on video. I need her to know that. No, it's been a great time, but they're having a great time together. So, again, I want to apologize if I got emotional earlier, but that was lack of sleep and the Lord really dealing with me on things. So I'm excited tonight. Again, I made the change, so we posted on our social media, which if you don't follow us, you are missing out. Local Church Tulsa on all platforms, not Twitter, because we're under the age of 40. I can say that because my brother-in-law is also out of town. He's the only person. Both of my brother-in-laws, that's weird, are on Twitter, and that's their main thing. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't want to read that much. Just show me pictures. I just want to see memes, let's be honest. That's what we're all on social media for anyways. But we posted it on there and just said a few things, and we got a lot of responses. I want to apologize to Mish, who oversees our social media. I have idiot friends. Ignore their answers. Because she posted one thing was like, if you could ask a pastor anything, what would you ask him? And they had a heyday with that. Thinking they're real funny. But there were a few topics, and I thought, you know what, this is the last week, so what I want to do is I took the top 3 and just kind of rapid fire going through the Untouchables series. So for those of you that have not been here in the last few weeks, The Untouchables series is basically the elephant in the room of churches. It's what everyone is thinking about, but yet nobody is talking about. And it was this brilliant idea that I had, and then as soon as I said it out loud from the stage, I immediately regretted it because I realized that I was going to have to talk about difficult things. And I'll tell you this, it's been exactly what our team was hoping that it would be. That we read the Word, we see what the Word says about things, give my interpretation of what that is, but I never want for you to take anything that is said at face value. That when it comes down to it, you have to find out what you believe and why you believe it. And the only way you're going to do that is by getting in the Word. So it's accomplished everything that we've wanted it to. We talked about self-medication, meaning including alcohol, drugs, marijuana. We talked about wealth or money in the church. And then last week we talked about sexuality. And it's been one of those things that last week I put a lot of prep into it because I understand that it is such a sensitive topic. And I think it's become that, and it's become so polarizing due to politics. So I did not want to communicate any of the politics side of it, the political side of it, but I wanted to communicate God's heart behind it. So I hope that was communicated. I definitely didn't want any judgment or condemnation to come from this stage. I don't think there was. But we've actually gotten some amazing responses. First week was by far the best response. The fact that I had 3 people basically rebuke me for wearing a Jay-Z t-shirt on stage, which is awesome. I have been very careful in my responses, because what I wanted to respond with was, okay, super religious person, thank you for taking time out of your day to send me an email in regards to the shirt that I'm wearing on the stage. One of them said, how dare you wear the face of that devil worshiper in the pulpit of God's house? I'm like, okay, I'm sorry to everybody that you know. I don't mean that, but I do. But it's been interesting because I've gotten some emails in regards to last week's, and it's been refreshing for me because I can't understand why. I don't know when this happened, but we live in a society where you can't ever disagree. And if you do disagree, you can't like the person. You can't be friends with them. You essentially have to hate them is what it feels like. And then just because you are a Christian, then obviously you have to be very Republican. And that can't find that anywhere in the Word either. But it's that we can communicate things and have differences, but when you do it from a place of love and you're just trying to show God's heart on things, it's amazing how that covers so much of it. I had one openly homosexual man send me an email, and he just said, thank you. Thank you for just talking about it, because it's never addressed, because I'm assuming people are going to think that there's going to be backlash or there's going to be a divide from it. And I just want to thank you for at least acknowledging that we're here. And I thought, man, that speaks so much to the whole culture, to how the church has acted towards people that have different sin than us. We all have sin. We are all dealing with things. But you're going to have more grace and more forgiveness for people like sin. And that I wanted to combat that. So it has been an awesome series, and we are ending it tonight, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming up. So mark on your calendars the last Tuesday in September. I think it's the 28th. I'm not totally positive. Josh is looking real quick for me. But 24th. So the 24th is our 1-year celebration of the local church. Woo woo! I'm glad you guys are excited as we are. No, but we're going to have a big celebration that night. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure that you mark your calendars and you are here. You guys will leave on the 17th and come back to a pretty different look, pretty different feel. We're now into where the teardowns are happening less. So basically with this whole deal is we honored their agreements, previous agreements for weddings and things like that. So we're coming towards the end of that. And we are making this our own. So I want to make sure that you know that on the 24th will be our 1-year celebration. If you were at our launch, it'll be a lot like that, just a big party. I will not be in charge of most of it, so you know it will be fun. You know it will be great. And the reason I say that, I'm the guy, we had a team dinner after service about 2 months ago, and I ordered a bunch of pizza, and I was pumped. I was like, no, I got it, Cass. Don't worry about it. I got it. I got it on lock, because I'm thinking just get like salads or something, and I'm out on that. So I was like, no, I got it. Totally forgot drinks. So everyone's like sitting out of the faucet. But they're going to take care of that, so it'll be an absolute blast. Okay, tonight we are talking about 3 things really quick. We did an extended worship, and that was on purpose. It was also a little bit of the Lord there. So we're going to talk about abortion, women in leadership, and I'm not sure what to call the last one, so leave that open-ended. I'll let you decide. How about that? So abortion. That was one thing that came up, and I think it's very evident that the church, that Christians are pro-life. And that's such again, it's a political debate on, it's one of those things it feels like with most political issues, you have to pick one side. Either you're siding with babies or you're siding with moms. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why we would have to ever choose that. And I also don't ever want the church to take a stance that is condemning to anybody who has gone through that before. And it's one of those things that, we can all have the debate on where it's at. And it's funny because Brad was actually in the back talking to me, and Maddie, his wife, is in Florida too, and he's got 2 children also about the same ages. And so misery loves company. So we were all hanging out, me and Brad. And we didn't say anything for like first 10 minutes, which is great. That's a pure dad moment. But we started talking, and the second thing that came up was abortion. I was like, please don't. Because I just talked about how I switched the topic in the last week. And he's like, abortion. I was like, please don't. And I flipped my iPad around. I was like, it's number 1. Please don't do any more to me. I can't handle any more of it. And he brought up a great point for me, and that was that, some of the argument in regards to crime being the reason that there is a pregnancy, and then what that looks like, and how and for me, it was a prime example for me of, like last week in talking about homosexuality, that you can carry and you look at it and you have a certain mindset due to how close you are or how close someone is that deals with that or that lives in that lifestyle or that is like that. And that's where I told him, he's like, well, what about rape and incest? And I looked at him and I said, here's what's amazing about God, and that completely combats every argument that is ever made, is my dad is a product of rape. That would be a bummer to not be here, just throwing that out there to you guys. But if that was an option, then my dad wouldn't have been born. And then I wouldn't be here. And that's where I can't imagine going through anything like that as just somebody who is dealing with or contemplating abortion. But every person is created in God's image. And that's my stance on the whole thing, is that there is a value to life. The day that we lose a value of a human life is a day I don't want to see. That that we pronounce someone dead when their heart stops beating, but that's not the beginning of life. And then what's hard is I don't think in any of this conversation we're looking at or helping or being there for women who have been through this process. that there is a hurt there. I mean, we have classes and things like that for abortion recovery, and there's a reason for that. It's because it takes something out of you, literally. And how you can go through what, and again, I don't know what comes in before that, but there's a value. So our stance on abortion is we are pro-life. And here's why I can say that with full confidence. My wife and I she decided and I got on board that we were going to adopt. We have 2 biological babies. We are in the process, and we just went active, and we have been waiting almost 14 months now for a baby. So there are families that are looking to adopt babies. 14 months we've been waiting. So there is that process that people are going through where there are enough people who either can't get pregnant or have the heart or a call to adopt. And that, so for me, there's a value on human life. Just quit killing babies. It's the fact that Mother Teresa said that to our president. It's just stop killing babies. Because at some point, and I think what's hard is, and again, it's, well, what about this and what about that? And that's every topic at this stage in life. In society, that's every topic is you can throw out that whatever small percentage it is and almost combat the whole argument. But when it comes down to it, it is not an accident that a baby is born. There's not an accident that someone gets pregnant. For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, that He knew you before you were in your mother's womb. So that is our stance as the local church on abortion, is that every human is created in God's image. Just quit killing babies. There's someone who wants them. There's someone who will love them. It's not an accident. And if you have gone through that, please find somebody with a lanyard and get hooked up where somebody can pray with you, can direct you to an area that can give help, because I understand that there are things that you have to process and things that you have to deal with, and we want to be that for you. I don't want you walking around carrying extra weight. Life's hard enough. We don't need to walk around carrying that extra weight. So number 2, women in leadership. I had a lot of jokes here that got cut. That's all I'm saying. I have a boss. Her name is Cassidy Shear. If it's ever come out of my mouth that is not the truth, that is a lie. She is for sure the boss and has cut all my jokes. But I started to think about, okay, with the local church, how do we view women in leadership? Obviously, we take a stand that let me just read you this point, and this is kind of what I wrote down for it. It has nothing to do with gender or race or age, and it has everything to do with calling and purpose. That's how I view, as the pastor of the local church, that's how I view putting people into leadership, is what are you called to do? Where will you find that fulfillment? Because when it comes down to it, it does not matter how much money that you make. It doesn't matter how many vacation days that you have. It doesn't matter what you do. When it comes down to it, you will not be fulfilled if you don't have purpose. So if you have purpose, you're going to find fulfillment, and all of a sudden, life gets better. Where it's not a drag to go into work every day, that it's not a drag to come set up on a Tuesday before everybody gets here, because we have purpose. And then in that purpose, we find fulfillment. Romans 12, 3-8 says, because of the privilege and authority God has given me, I give each of you this warning. Don't think you are better than you really are. Be honest in your evaluation of yourselves, measuring yourselves by the faith God has given us. Just as our bodies have many parts, each part has a special function. So it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body, and we all belong together. In His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to encourage others, be encouraging. If it is giving, give generously. If God has given you leadership ability, take the responsibility serious. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly. What I notice here is that Paul does not say, men with gifts, do them. It doesn't say that. I understand what the Bible says in 2 Timothy, but if you don't understand what that means in 2 Timothy 2, but if you don't understand the context or you don't know, you don't read through it and find out the stuff before and after, if you just pluck a verse out, you can contort that to be whatever you want it to be. So when you read through that where it says that women should not be in leadership roles over men, that was for a reason and for a time, and there's a context to that. I don't have much time, so I cannot get into it. But God wants us to eliminate all the external distinctions of class, race, gender, and wealth as ways of judging a person's ability to minister effectively. The real question is not of one's gender, but of calling. In 3 passages where Paul talks about spiritual gifts, he never says that some are for men only. Not only does Paul fail to mention that some gifts are for men only in Romans 12, 3-8 that I just read, but he goes on to warmly greet a female deacon, a female teacher, and a female apostle, as well as several other women who ministered in the church at Rome. So it's the fact that that is even a question does not make sense. Please don't think that far-right activists that throw a religion or a denomination on the end of their name makes them the church. I just want to also throw that out there. Westboro is Westboro, not Westboro Baptist. So please don't title them in the church. So with this, I read those and I thought, how is that even a question? That women, I am so much less without my wife. There's no way that any of this could happen without her. But I am in my calling and she is in hers. And I think that that's, when it comes down to it, especially in marriage, unity, that matters. Being in step matters. If it's not, it's going to be a long road. Find that step to be in step. But we are great complements, and it's 2 wholes that come together to make a whole. But we're both operating in our gift and in our call. And then the last thing was just about atheists and atheism and believing if God is real or not, which I'm glad we asked this because a lot of it, I don't want to think that I know everything and I'm aware of everything, that I realize that I am neither of which. And I didn't want to think that I know what everybody thinks. I mean, I grew up in church. My dad is a pastor. I did not want to think that I know what the world thinks and the questions that they have. And so I'm really glad I asked this, but they basically asked about the existence of God or how to combat that in your mind or in your belief. And Ravi Zacharias is a Christian theologian, and he brought something up in one of the podcasts I was listening to. And he brought up that an atheist basically questioned him after a lecture. He said, how can you say there's a God when there's so much evil in the world? And he brought up a great point. And I'm going to end with this, so Josh can come up now or David. And he said, okay, if there's so much evil in the world, what defines evil? And if there is evil, then you are acknowledging that there is good. And if there is good, how are you judging what is good and what is wrong other than a moral compass? And that moral compass is brought on by a higher being. We don't just get to pick and choose. That we know if there's so much evil, then in order for something to be evil, that means that there has to be a counterpart to what is good. And even science has come so far, and its facts change, the truth doesn't. We know that there is a God. We know that there is a superior being. We understand that there was not 2 meteors that collided and boom, the earth was here, and there were dinosaurs. and then they morphed into gorillas, and then they morphed into humans. And we understand that that is not the case, that creation is reality. And it's been so interesting just seeing, as I can remember in my remembrance, how far science has come our way. That we have talked about the power of your words, and that life and death are in the power of your tongue. And that your tongue is the pen of a ready writer. And now they're saying that you have to speak good over situations. That there is power in that. And they're now proving that scientifically, when 10 years ago they would have said, your words mean nothing. But I'll tell you what's so interesting about facts is they always change. But God hasn't. He was the same yesterday, he's the same today, and he is going to be the same forever. So the fact that you are here makes me sit comfortably knowing that everyone here is at least acknowledging that they have a creator. But what I want to do here is just equip you with knowledge, at least give you a place to start, to where you can figure out what you believe and why you believe it. And that's every week that we've done, and then the topics tonight. From self-medication, is drinking wrong, is smoking weed wrong, and quit trying to justify stuff. And quit making it a big deal. I brought it up in week 1, but the devil's winning. The fact that the church is bickering back and forth within itself, if drinking a beer is right or wrong, the devil is winning. Because there are people who have come to the conclusion that their life is not worth living, and they have taken their own life. And we are going to argue whether having a beer is wrong or not. We are missing the point. But what is your heart behind it? What is your heart? What is the intention behind the action? And just because something's legal does not make it moral. It is legal for me to have an affair on my wife. It is not moral. It is legal for me to say whatever I want based off of the freedom of speech. But when it comes down to it, not everything I say is going to be moral. Everything I could say is not going to be right. It's not going to be loving. And then we talked about wealth and the whole argument of the prosperity gospel, and somehow people are titled the prosperity preachers, and they always bring up one or two names that are tied to it, and that is, what it comes down to is that whatever God has placed in your heart, money is not going to be the object that stops it. Again, in case my dad ever listens to this, I'm going to repeat what I said. I am sorry for how the church has treated you. I am sorry for how the church in general has been mean and very standoffish on this topic. There's nothing that you could have done that is ever going to stop God from loving you. That's the amazing thing about unconditional. It really is. I repeat it often, but it's because the word and the meaning of unconditional does not make sense. But that's the God we serve. We can't, when I was talking with Brad, I said, it's been amazing when I came to the realization that I cannot fix people. You cannot fix people. Sean cannot fix people. Karen cannot fix people. So the moment that you have the freedom and the liberation of knowing that you can't fix people, that only Jesus can, there's a freedom in that. All of a sudden, you don't have to be judge, jury, and executioner. You can't see into someone's heart, just like you can't see into mine. So how could you ever make a snap judgment on anybody for anything? It is not your place to condemn somebody. It's not your place to judge somebody. The Bible says judge and be judged. I'm out on that personally. I know the life that I've lived. I've made mistakes. I don't want to be judged, so I'm not going to judge. I am not saying to condone anything. You have to live with your convictions. But what I am saying is no matter what, you have to love people. No matter what, you have to respect people. Because when it comes down to it, we are all going through life. We are all dealing with things. Just because one sin is different than the other does not make one worse than the other. So understand my heart on that. That as a local church, the only guidelines I have, the only thing that we built this whole thing around is that people can come in, not feel judged, not feel condemned, and they can just meet with Jesus. Because that is the only answer. And then with this tonight, with abortions, every person was created in God's image. They're God's masterpiece. With women in ministry, I didn't even think that was a real thing anymore. But apparently it is. My wife is better at what she does than at what I do. So I want her to be the front. I'm just going to be honest. Be vulnerable. She's so much better at loving people than me. She lets me know too. But it's operating your calling. It doesn't have anything to do with gender or age or race. Past does not matter. Operate in your calling. Whatever you've been called to do it and do it well. And there is a God. I don't know what to tell you other than that. I had a spiel for every one of them. I don't have that. There is a God. We cut ourselves and it heals by itself. Tell me there's not a God. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Think about it. You cut, you scab, stops bleeding. People say there's not a God. Come on. I mean, really, come on. No, but it's just like with every other thing. When having conversations, when talking with people, just come from a place of love. Again, don't condone just to condone, to lighten the mood. Live with your conviction, but also come from a place of love. When we do that, the world becomes a lot better place. And that's everybody, not just the church. That's just everybody. The moment we realize that people are people and love them, this world becomes a lot better to live on. So we might as well be the catalyst for that.